Well, hello, beautiful people. How are we doing today? We are back at it once again with the book 3 Feet from Gold by Sharon Leckler. And this is chapter 13. And oh my gosh, yesterday's chapter, right? There was so many golden nuggets. And I want to go over a couple of them because we do have some time today. Because one of the big ones that he wrote down in his journal was act in spite of fear. And I've talked about this before in other videos in the past, but understanding what fear is, right? Fear is an acronym that I like to use, right? False evidence appearing real. And we make it real based on how we react to it. And so this is just such a powerful statement. Act in spite of fear is to basically let you know, do not let fear get to you. It is an illusion. All right. So false evidence appearing real. Very powerful, and definitely one that I'm putting down just to kind of remind myself. So, definitely write that down if you haven't already. And then the other one that was being stated was you need to run from people who are negative, people that have negative attitudes. And it's true because that's that analogy, like if there was a bunch of, if you watch crabs when they're struggling for survival, and they're put in a boiling pot, and all the crabs are being thrown in, and then there's like a one crab who's always trying to get out, but you've got the other crabs who are like, no, you're not, if you can't get out, I'm not getting out. And they're literally pulling the crab back in, right? It's like, if we're gonna die, we're all gonna die together. Just having that negative mentality. And so it's like this birds of a feather flock together type of mentality. And so if you're around toxic people that are always negative, well, guess what? You're gonna turn into that too. So anytime you see that, and unfortunately, yes, if it is with a family, you have to want to limit yourself around them, as best as you can. If you're in a relationship, maybe that's not the best relationship. I'm not going to say that's the case, but you got to know what's best for you, because at the end of the day, you don't want to feel like you have to justify yourself to people that are just going to be negative for no reason. And we know those people. We call them energy vampires. They just suck away your energy, and they're not good, and they don't support you. So, and then I'll show you guys the last one, and then we'll go ahead and get right into chapter 13, because I want to read this one verbatim. So, people doubt their beliefs, but believe their doubts. I'm gonna say that again. People doubt their beliefs, but believe their doubts. Believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you. So powerful. Understanding that what that's breaking down to is you just have to believe in you, right? If you doubt yourself, you get to be right, and people will doubt you. You are a mirror of what you are putting out there. So believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you. So whatever you put out, you get more of. So these are just some great quotes that we got from yesterday. And let's go ahead and get back into chapter 13. All right, here we go.
There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Napoleon Hill.
That's powerful right there.
Chapter 13. Opportunities. Despite all the encouragement and wisdom he had received from so many people, the very human feelings of doubt and frustration were nearly overwhelming for Greg. His bank account had slipped into the negative, but Mia was now helping keep a roof over his head in a much more reasonable apartment. Will I ever become an author? Am I doing the right thing? Or is this just another fantasy I've made up? He asked himself. Mia caught him in an unguarded moment as he worked on the manuscript amid the mess, to put it mildly, of his workspace in the apartment. So what's really going on? She asked. It just isn't working out the way I want it to, Greg moaned. Mia replied, Maybe you're having a difficult time accepting that things are actually going to work out, but maybe not exactly as you want them to, or in your time. He rolled his eyes and turned his back toward her and the open door.
Hmm.
Hey, get off your pity pot and clean up this room, she said. Look around you. Lighten up. Let go. Let yourself do the work you need to do. Greg wasn't listening. No wonder no one is taking this project. It's no good, he said. What makes me think I'm worthy of doing this anyway? Are you finished? Mia asked in the same tone in which one spoke to a 3-year-old. Yes, but it stinks that. No, that's it, Mia interjected, cutting his self-pitying, self-deprecating comments short. Now that you have that out of your system, let's regroup for a minute. I don't need this, Greg said as he rose to his feet. You are not my mother. If I wanted advice from you, I would have asked for it. You have. You asked me into your life. I decided to be here. We've chosen to be together. I'm not going to argue with you, Greg, but I'm not going to buy into your self-centeredness either. You need to open your ears and turn off the freight train brain. Then the telephone rang, saving them both from a full-scale battle. Hi, Greg. It's Don Green. How we doing? Not as well as usual, Greg responded. Well, get over it in a hurry because I need you to call someone. He's a friend of the foundation and a huge believer in Hill's work. I'll have my assistant send you his bio. I want you to get with him and have him tell you his story about overcoming challenges. This guy has a great message. Will do, said Greg in a somewhat reinvigorated tone. I've been a bit down about the way things have been going. I'm sorry about that. It's to the point where I'm waiting for a sign to show itself. Well, then you'll never see it, Green said. Most people go through life with the philosophy that they need to see something before they can believe in it.
Right.
When in truth, they simply need to believe in something. They must know it to be true, and only then will that something show itself. The student reached for his well-used notepad, tucked away into a duffel bag filled with soiled laundry in a corner of his workspace. He really did need to finish moving into Mia's apartment and get organized. Bringing his attention back to the notepad, Greg recorded, You must believe it before you can see it.
Wow.
Thanks, Don. I really needed to hear that right now, Greg said with appreciation. Let me know how it goes, Green said as he hung up the phone. Greg sat down in front of his laptop to try to write one more page. The next morning, he rose to a completely different day with a much improved attitude. Greg felt himself on a slippery slope, but he had not fallen yet. More importantly, he also saw Mia with new eyes. She was more supportive than ever. She, in turn, had seen firsthand the change in her man. This time, when he fell down, he bounced back more quickly, and his attitude came back stronger than ever. Mr. Dudley, please, Greg asked of the receptionist when he called to arrange his next interview. He's expecting to hear from you. In fact, he's traveling in Texas right now and suggested I give you his direct cell number, she responded. Dialing the telephone, he reflected on how things had changed. Only months before, he had basically stolen someone's jacket, but later decided to return it just to meet its owner. Today, he had a literal who's who stored in his personal cell phone directory. All of those incredible people had shared their stories to help him. Now his mission and his duty was to make their stories available to everyone. Joe here, Dudley answered, jolting Greg back to the present. Before the call, he had done a little background check on his interviewee. Joe Dudley was the co-founder, president, and CEO of Dudley Products, one of the world's largest manufacturers of ethnic hair care and beauty care products, as well as a provider of cosmetology training. From an original investment of just $10, Dudley had built a profitable $30 million empire. Beginning with manufacturing facilities in his own kitchen with his wife and children as employees, Dudley now ran a company with an 80,000 square foot corporate headquarters and manufacturing facility employing 400 people. However, Dudley was much more than a successful entrepreneur. He was known internationally as an inspirational speaker and humanitarian who spent much of his time giving back to the community. Hi, Joe. Greg here in San Diego. I'm a friend of your good buddy Don Green. Well, hello there. I've heard a lot about what you are doing, Dudley said. The world needs a book like the one you're working on. We all need to remind ourselves from time to time that just because we get knocked down doesn't mean we have to stay down. Was this guy spying on him or something? How did he know what Greg was going through? Have I got a few stories to share, Dudley said. Imagine in the 1960s being a black, uneducated door-to-door salesperson with a speech impediment. I was labeled mentally retarded. In fact, I had a girlfriend who broke up with me because she didn't want stupid babies. You've got to be kidding me. How in the world did you handle that? Dudley replied. I developed a strategy that helped me through the darkest times. It's a personal mantra that goes like this. Seeing a great message coming, Greg wrote his next words. Can, I will, I am. Meaning, I can do it. I will do it. I am doing it. We have to stay away from the negatives. Most people will be negative about what you're doing if you're doing something well. Fact is, if people don't criticize you, then chances are you're probably not doing enough. It's not that they think what you're doing is bad. They're just afraid that they will lose you or you'll grow away from them. Greg was silent for a long moment, absorbing the thoughts of this great business leader. Going door to door changed who I was, so I could in turn help change the lives of others. When I was a child in grammar school, my teachers told my mother that I was mentally retarded and would never amount to anything. My mother told me, I believe in you. Yes, I know you're slow. Your teachers know you're slow. Heck, even you know you're slow. But the good news is that even though you may be slow, once you get something, it sticks. Greg laughed at Dudley's infectious enthusiasm as he continued without a beat. My mother believed in me, and I believed my mother, which helped me to believe in myself. I was fortunate to meet and marry the love of my life and to raise successful and highly educated children. Remember this, just like Napoleon Hill said, every setback and challenge holds in it an equal or greater opportunity. I learned that there's an advantage in everything. There's an advantage in being fast and one in being slow, one in being tall and one in being short. The key is to discover what your advantage is and utilize it. But here's the secret. If you don't, someone else will take it away from you. Greg summarized Dudley's point in his notepad. Find and use your advantage or someone will take it away. Dudley continued. Question is, what are you good at? Feeling a new sense of confidence, the younger man asked, through your years of experience, what would be your definition of success? The phone went silent on the other end, and Greg feared he may have said something wrong. Then, with a great energy, Joe Dudley answered. The world has truly changed through my years. When I was a student, from grade school on, I was only permitted to attend a segregated campus. In our house, we had no TV, radio, or fancy clothes. There were 14 of us living in a small cabin, and we made the most of it. One thing that has never changed is that people from any background or walk of life can do anything they desire as long as they are passionate and are willing to stand out from the crowd. He took a deep breath and continued. In today's marketplace, a person must make his own job. We can no longer count on other people to care for us. You need to create the position that is right for you. Be a job maker, not a job taker. Before Greg could respond, he immediately realized that he was on track after all. He had been given a golden opportunity to follow his success equation, and now he must follow the counsel of his mentors and apply what he had learned. He asked Dudley for one piece of knowledge that he would pass along to every generation after him. Dudley's response was this. Fill your mind with books of inspiration. Work hard, work smart, and at the end of the day, become a job maker, not a job taker. In other words, make your own opportunities. Greg added to his notebook. Be a job maker, not a job taker. Make your own opportunities. That night, the call he had dreaded came through. He had tried to reach David over the past week without success. He'd left a few messages, but received no call back. Before that, the two had spoken almost daily. David had been going to meetings, establishing a new way of life without alcohol or drugs, thinking about next steps to take in his career. Greg had been delighted at David's progress. He could hear the renewed energy and focus in his voice. He couldn't wait to see him, to spend time with a sober friend and brother. But then, suddenly, nothing. He was glad that Mia was with him when he picked up his cell phone to answer the call. "Dave," he greeted. "Where have you been, buddy?" With the first sentence, it was clear that David had been drinking. "I fell off the wagon," he admitted. Greg was almost speechless. Almost. Filled with fear, disappointment, and anger, he said, "Get a good night's sleep and call me tomorrow morning, Dave. And don't drink tomorrow."
Whoa, that was pretty harsh. Okay. Man, this book has everything, I tell you. So it's like this roller coaster. So we meet this guy, Joe Dudley, and I mean, man, he's just full of inspiration and things. And this is so like life, right? Like you're on this high. Well, what starts off, you're on this low, and then you're on this high, and then now you're on this other low because of your brother. And wow, I was really excited to go all into Joe Dudley, and now we are dealing with his brother David. Um, so I was just saying that's pretty harsh because I mean I honestly feel for David and understanding, but I mean, he's going through a process. At least he picked up the phone. That's how I look at it. You always want to see the good in everything, what's working, and even though he fell off the bandwagon, which is that's what happens, he's calling, you know. So yeah, we'll see how this this turns out tomorrow. It just kind of caught me a little off guard because I wasn't expecting that, but let's dissect everything and not take away from what Joe Dudley was saying because I mean there was a lot of great nuggets in there. And again, the common theme in this whole book is just you don't quit no matter what. And I'm sure that's why there's more chapters still to come. The book is not over yet. So definitely come back tomorrow. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss any of this great content. And comment down below, you know, what you guys are getting from this and maybe from this chapter, and have you noticed in your own pattern, your own life, these roller coasters that we deal with, right? Because we were talking about adversity in the last video. So until next time, you guys make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.